It's January 27th, everyone, and this is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report. Hey, we're going to be joined by Tom, Lee, Josh, and Gentry. Going to share a little bit of information with you. We'll be right back with what the guys have to say. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, January the 27th. Month of January is almost over. It's going out with a flood, it seems. Lots of rain out there. Tom, what's happening on Guntersville with all of this water going through the system?
Well, in the meantime, we're building an ark, but getting ready. Hey, it's time, guys. It's time. It's time to get out there and start slinging those baits around. Tournament time's just right around the corner. I mean, we're just like T-minus 10 days or something like that. We're ready for some tournament action going on in Guntersville. Just in time for the cold muddy water, which everybody loves to have, in the wintertime. So, and it's just going to be more of the same. If you've been on Guntersville or if you haven't been on Guntersville, the things that you need to do right now is go buy you a bunch of chatterbaits, go get you a bunch of rattle traps, and then pick your favorite color. Of course, this muddy water is going to make that red crawl pick up. But, you get out there and start slinging those, getting your 4, 5, 6 foot of water, ripping those things through the grass on some nice flats. You're going to catch some of those Guntersville bigs right now. It is absolutely the time. This cold water's got those fish balled up in nice little tight, and they're just looking for places to do the nasty and get ready for springtime. So it's a great time. We're all excited up here right now.
So you got the moving bait, which obviously in muddy water you're going to want to slow down. Still going to target some of that hard cover, some of those kinds of things. But do you happen to have like a big jig or something like that you can put up there next to that hard cover at the same time?
Absolutely. I'll tell you, two of my very favorite techniques this time of year are a big spinnerbait with a big Colorado blade or a couple of big Colorado blades, and even a big heavy spinnerbait with a big willow leaf blade on there. Okay. Does well on the channel edges and things like that where you're finding those staging fish that are starting to come up into the coves. If you're fishing that shallower water, what I like are those banks that are 4 or 5 foot of water that come up shallow, but throw that spinnerbait up there real close to the edge. I don't care how muddy it is, you're going to get some action. As far as a jig goes, this time of year, I really like a big swim jig. I don't swim it a lot, but I like a big swim jig. Not a lot of action to it, but I like to throw it out there, just work it very slowly back to the boat. Not a whole lot of hops and pops and things like that. Just work it very slowly. And absolutely, that slow down action can really really get you some big bites. But, I think a lot of people are stuck on that vibrating jig bite, and that's great. Vary the way you throw it, especially with these cold temps. You're going to have to slow down a little bit.
Tom, as always, brother, we appreciate everything. Thank you for the information and for helping everybody put a few more fish in the boat.
It's time. Tie lines. See you out there.
Well, hey there, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, January the 27th. Hey, we're all out there dodging raindrops, but I got news for you. Our favorite Neely Henry and Weiss Lake fisherman is going to be working with Fish Neely Henry Lake up at the East Tennessee Fishing Show this week. If you're up there, stop by and say hi to him. Ask him a little bit more clarification on what we're going to go into today. Muddy water, what's going on at Weiss Lake right now?
It's like I've been the bearer of bad news here for the past couple of weeks, and I'm about tired of talking about it. We've just had the weather has been the biggest issue. We just had a series of fronts, series of the cold weather, the just frigid weather. And then also with this mud coming in through here, fish are trying to get where they need to be. It's one of those things. Got to fish a little bit early in the week. Yeah, brutal and windy, but still caught some fish. There's fish to be caught. They're still in that the deep creeks, still in some of the bends of the river. And one of the things there at Weiss, we're still, normally by this time of year, we're pulling for them and we're getting in the backs of some of the creeks. They're still out there on the deeper stuff, so we're having to drop live bait down on them. Can catch a few with the water if it'll allow it. You can catch some dropping jigs down on them. With these Bobby Garland products, we can get over the top of them and kind of make them bite. But the thing is, you've got to watch the water. With the current, Also with the stain and trash and things like that coming in, it's just a whole lot of variables there that are making it difficult. And you can still catch fish, but it's not like what we want to do.
And I know the bass bite, those fish are going to pull tight to that cover. They may be just off of that hard edge, but they're there in a big spinner bait, a big jig, and maybe a lipless crankbait to pull them in. All right, Neely Henry, bunch of water going through there. I've been watching it as I go over these bridges. What's happening there?
Neely, pretty much the same thing right now. It's just, Mother Nature is just kind of throwing us some curveballs and making it tough on us. You got to beat around and knock around and get around some fish in some of these eddy spots. Like I said, once again, bends of the creeks, maybe the mouths of some of these creeks that the fish are holding on, getting out of that current a little bit. I know a lot of people are listening and say, well, you're always talking about fish those currents and out there in that moving water to flush bait by them. That's true, but there's time, too much of a good thing is not a good thing. So it's what you're looking for is where they can kind of get out of that, not exert a whole lot of energy, still getting behind some eddy spots, breaks, little depressions, and look for that timber out there, look for some of that wood cover, and just kind of make it happen.
One of my favorite things this time of the year is to throw a big 3/4 ounce rattle trap, and I mean rattle trap in a big bright chartreuse or maybe that bright red. But I like 20-pound mono to keep that thing up in the water column. It's one of my favorite things to get big bites and bass this time of year. Lee, brother, we appreciate everything. Thanks for the time. Talk to you again next week.
All right, guys. See y'all up in Knoxville.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, January 27th, 2024. We got Josh Herron joining us right now. Josh, let's talk a little bit about Logan Martin and Lay Lake. What's happening down there? Is it a mud pit?
Yeah, it's got a bunch of color and it's even colder. It kind of looks like a Snickers blizzard at the moment.
Oh, there you go.
As I shit on the water yesterday for a few hours, and I think the surface temp was 39 to 42, according to where you were at. It is brisk. So everything was moving pretty slow in that world. It's kind of the same deal that's going on when the ABT fished.
Yep.
You gotta. It is a grind. Two words that do not go together in fishing are cold and mud.
Right.
It can be mud or it can be cold, just not both. And right now we got a lot of both.
We saw, a little over 17 pounds, 17 and a half, 18 pounds won that ABT 100, but like almost half the field blanked. So it was on them or not.
Man, and I think the guys that were on them didn't catch that many. It was just more of a quality deal. Dude, I'm not real sure. I spent a lot of time yesterday looking for fish that were actually on bait and saw a bunch, but the deal was they wouldn't react to anything. You could put a bait on them, and it was like they were popsicles. They would just kind of cruise along. They didn't show a whole lot of interest in anything. We finally wound up catching a few yesterday afternoon. Pretty shallow. Actually cranking. Kind of doing that rock thing we were talking about before. And I think that's going to be the most consistent gig going right now in town. Because there's actually kind of like a little clear water edge forming on Logan Martin just from runoff.
Okay.
The river's puking mud, but you got a little bit clearer water coming in some of these little secondary creeks, stuff like that. So biggest thing is going to be to look for warm water, or warmer water if possible. And man, just embrace the grind.
I'm assuming Lay Lake is going to be very similar, with the difference that some of that standing timber may have some fish suspended next to it, correct?
Yeah, but even right now, there's nothing suspended in the middle of that river at the moment. It is flying. Yeah, it is flying. So it's going to be like your bluff ends, your creek mouths, stuff like that. But no, as far as you're not going to wander around out in the middle of the river channel right now. If you do, bring a big weight and get ready to go fast.
Josh, brother, we appreciate everything, man. Have a good time on the water today. Enjoy it. We'll talk to you soon. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, January 27th, 2024. We got Gentry Gordy going to talk a little bit of Lake Martin and some Jordan Lake action. I guarantee you Jordan's a little bit muddy, and you might have a little bit of color going on in Martin right now, don't you?
Yeah, Jordan's got a little mud to it. I was actually up there the other day, and man, I couldn't have picked a worse day. It was cold. It was bluebird skies. Some of the back of the pockets was iced over. Water temperature, I tried to get further back in the pockets, but I realized with ice back there, water temperature was a lot colder.
Mm-hmm.
I caught some. I didn't catch many, but I caught some decent fish. Cranking crawdad colored flat sided square bill. But then I kind of hit a lull. But I started watching my live, Dano, and in that 8 to 10 foot range, off usually where your boat's sitting, if you're bank fishing, I could see them right in front, but you couldn't see them. I mean, you would just see a little blob moving along the bottoms, like they were just glued down. And you could bring a crankbait past them once that sun got up, but they wouldn't. They'd chase it, but they wouldn't grab it. My better fish come just barely moving a little Texas rig, baby D-bomb, painstakingly holding a wacky rig in 10 foot of water because it had to get all the way to the bottom before they'd touch it.
Slow fishing, but sometimes that's what you got to do in this cold water, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just, they were just, like I said, I looked. There just wasn't much activity when it was that cold. Martin, on the other hand, yeah, the places in Kalijah, the back of Blue Creek, Sandy, those are staying pretty good, but you can still get out towards the main lake and it's crystal clear. Water temperature's cold, still having to drag slow, though.
Yeah.
To get them better, to get the better spots to bite, your rock, your deeper dark colored rocks, especially if you find a section of bank where it's sandy, then you see that rock formation on the bank that usually comes out in the water. If you can find that running towards deep water, you can barely move a shaky head or a jig and find some pretty decent spots.
When you say cold, are you talking 40s? What are we talking temperature wise?
Jordan was 43 the morning I was there, and I think it got up to a whopping 44. Maybe 45. Martin being a little bit deeper and clear, Martin's still 48, 50. It just depends on where you go on Martin. There's so much varies there.
Yeah.
You get back in the back of some of those muddier pockets, it's a little colder than the deep clear stuff.
There you go, folks. Look for that rock. Follow Gentry's instructions. You'll probably be able to get a few bites. Maybe not a bunch, but they could be good ones. Gentry,
that's right.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate everything. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, that'll do it for our Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for January 27th. Saturday, cold, muddy. Might not be a lot of fun out there, but at least the guys give us a little bit of a roadmap that might help us put a few fish in the boat. Hey, don't forget, we're full tilt here at Bucks Island. Tuesday through Friday, 8 to 5. Saturday, still 8 to noon for a little bit longer. But we got what you need to get you on the water, keep you on the water, or help you find what you need to put them in the boat. Thanks for spending the time with us. We appreciate you. You are the best part of Bucks Island, and we'll talk to you again next week.